All right. Got a different run to talk about today. Little different wind direction. As you can see, we're getting like a north-northwest. So this is where like 320 degrees and over like up to that north wind where it becomes a little more rare. The north-northwest is decently consistent for us. And it's going to be our inside Sandy Hook Bay run. It is full on the whole time. There's no smaller, shallower water start or anything to worry about. It is a little bit of a shorter run, so I'm going to go over a couple of options for beginners up to intermediates and advanced. So as you can see for this upcoming Monday, that's why I'm making the video. We have a good forecast starting out in the morning. We have a high tide around 10 a.m. So with this run, the outgoing tide, especially down towards the bottom where our two rivers drain from, will definitely build on the bumps. You have like 2 knots of current at the bottom of the run. Probably most of the run like around a knot of current when it's on that outgoing tide. So it really helps stack the bumps up and organize them. So you can see our forecast. We got 22 to 31. Should be about shoulder high bumps pretty much the whole run. See, it's going to blow all day north-northwest. As long as it doesn't turn northeast, we should be in pretty good shape. So different starting points that we have. We have the parking lot at the Missile where we end our crossings when we come from Keensburg and Union Beach over here. And then we also have another option where you can walk up to the tip. So a lot of the SUP guys will park over here at Lot M in Sandy Hook. It's about a 3/4 mile walk over here, but you do end up getting an extra 2 miles on the run. So if you walk out to the tip, it's about 5 miles straight downwind to Popamora. As you can see here, it says like 4.2, but with all the turning and everything like that, it ends up being 5. If you launch over at the Missile and you are on a SUP board, you got to paddle out a little bit, and it ends up being about a 3-mile run. With the Parawings, it opens up a couple of different options, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Super stoked for these runs because it's really fun to everybody park over down here at Popamora. We shuttle up and just keep doing laps all day. It's a good day to like test out different gear. If you have different size front wings or tail wings combos that you've been nervous to try across the bay, it's definitely a good option. Real quick, we'll look at the depth charts. So as you can see, once you paddle out off that nook here, you get into about 20 feet of water. Same thing when you leave the tip of Sandy Hook over there. You're in that 20 feet of water. This is at low tide range. And you're just going to funnel down. What we like to do is follow these channel markers when we get down towards the bottom. So you'll see these 3 red buoys, and we just stay right on the side of them there. You can see there's a little shoal at the end, so you want to avoid going over that because it does get a little flat right there. So as long as you stay right outside that channel, and then you end on that beachfront here at Popamora. Things to be looking out for, especially with the bay crossing as well. The ferry for the Sea Streak runs out of Highlands over here and out of Atlantic Highlands over here. It also runs out of Belford over here. So something to think about when you are coming across the bay is that you want to avoid being in the ship's line, right? So if you see it coming and the timing looks bad for you, just be mindful that they probably can see you, but don't count on it, and just be safe and avoid their path as you go. That's why we also recommend like wearing high vis and life vests, like the Vikobe here. This thing's great, and most of the guys are wearing them right now. With Parawing, it opens up some different options. So you can see here, like this is a SUP run, a little over 3 miles from the Missile. Super fun. Got to work out a little bit to get around that little battery here. So when you launch off the Missile, I just recommend paddling about 5 minutes out if you're on a paddle, and then shooting straight down. You just kind of work a little bit off land here to stay offshore and stay in the deeper water. Horseshoe Cove over here is super shallow, so you don't want to hug this Sandy Hook coast. You want to stay a little bit further out. As you can see, it gets super shallow in there. 12 feet here, more like 18 feet out here in the middle. This is from the tip. You can see it's about a little over 5 miles. Super fun, super surfy. Really important thing to note on the outgoing tides. It is like the hatchery in the gorge. Whereas when you have an outgoing tide, there's a lot of water rushing around this tip right here. So you will actually not gain any ground if you don't paddle up. So if you are a beginner, I don't recommend going up to this tip here. A lot of water is exiting the bay. The bumps are at their biggest right up here because we have all that depth, but it is a little bit, dangerous if you're not in the intermediate to advanced zone where you're not paddling up consistently, just because it will just slowly suck you backwards. It's not to say you won't be able to paddle back to shore. This is all pretty easily accessible. There's a little rock pile that we paddle out just underneath on the south side of, but it's all sand up and around here. So if you are losing ground, you could always paddle back. Some beginner options could be on incoming tide or slack, or even with the outgoing, is paddle up from the tip and you can end down by the missile. That's just about a mile run, and that gives you a good bit. The real beginner route that we tell guys to do is just park up here by the missile, paddle out, and then just downwind this little half-mile stretch to the beach here. And then you can either hike back up, or as guys are coming back upwind for another run, they could scoop you up here and you can just do those laps right there. That's kind of where we get everybody starting out on these northwest wind runs. Thing that the Parawing opens up, rather than hiking out 10-15 minutes to the tip, you can just launch over here at the missile, tack up wind a little bit and get a little bit longer run. Or instead of paddling out 10 minutes, you just launch that Parawing right inside the little keyhole that we have there, zip out to the good wind line, which is maybe like a 2-minute ride, and then shoot that run downwind. As you can see, it's only like a 15 to 20-minute run on foil if you don't come off. But the idea is you get like 5 laps in throughout the day and get 15, 20 miles. Another Parawing run, you can see like I was out here waiting for people, so it just adds time on the water. Instead of it being a 15-minute run, I was on the water enjoying it. And another thing you could do is actually lap down here. Once you get down towards Popomora Beach, you can do little tacks, continue to ride the bumps as you wait for the other guys to finish. It's pretty fun. And yeah, so like I said, the things I forgot to mention in the last video, wearing that high vis, watching out for the boat traffic. Super important that when you're doing this run, because you are going to cross this channel that the boat comes in and out of. They run probably about every hour. It's a massive, massive ferry that goes up, so you'll see it coming from a long ways away. Most of the time we're running inside their ferry line over here, but when you get down towards the buoys, it's really important that you stay right over there. Shoots, let's get it.